what's going on. So let's have some real conversation about intimacy and chronic illness. How does it make you feel? So, I'm going to tell a little bit about my story. If you go back to my videos, I do talk about it. But since we're on a new journey now, why not talk about it? So, back in 2022, I was diagnosed with APS, lymphoid syndrome, which actually falls under lupus. So it is where the proteins in my blood causes blood clots. I was diagnosed with it back in June of 2020 and 2022, excuse me, and then officially September of 2022. How it was found was I was diagnosed with DVT in June of 2022, where I was put on warfarin and I was told I had to take warfarin for 12 weeks. Blood work was done. It showed up in my blood work, but you can't get diagnosed with it the first time around. You have to actually be on medication for a certain amount of weeks and then go back 3 months later. And that's what happened. But I had to end up going back almost 4 months later due to me catching COVID right before I was supposed to get tested again. So I had to wait a whole another month, pretty much. And how I was diagnosed was blood work, but they found DVT, and my DVT was in my groin area. And they had said if I would have waited anywhere longer, it would have most likely went to either my lungs, my heart, or my brain. So I may not have been sitting here right now. I wasn't feeling well the month of May, pretty much. My legs were hurting. I was tired, but I was working and I was focused on work. And I was like, it's okay. Then I flew to New York for my daughter's graduation, and the swelling in my legs didn't go down. So I was like, something just isn't right. And I was like, would they let you get on the plane with your legs being swollen? They was like, why would you think that? But I knew at that moment, deep down inside, something was wrong, and it wasn't something that was just going to like go away. So when I got on the plane and I got back to where I live, went to the ER, they did a D-dimer test, and my D-dimer test numbers was through the roof. And the emergency doctor was like, you might have some blood clots somewhere. We don't know where, but it just something isn't right. And at that particular hospital, the technicians aren't there overnight. So I had to wait till like 7:30 in the morning. And 7:30 in the morning, they did the Doppler of my leg. And when I say the pain that I was in, oh man. But it was okay, I guess. Not really. She was like, oh, so you have blood clots. I was like, oh, I know. I have superficial ones that I was diagnosed in 2004 from being on the Author Ever patch. Did not know there was a lawsuit because I definitely would have gotten some money from it. And they were superficial. So when I say that, that means they were entwined. They're entwined with my varicose veins. So a certain part of my leg does get swollen. But after like a day or so, it goes down, especially like traveling and things like that. She was like, no, you have DVT. And it was in my groin area. So the blood clots were actually traveling. I was like, oh, okay. Right there in the hospital, they put me on blood thinners. They was like, all right, you got to go see your primary care doctor. Your primary care doctor will send you to a hematologist, and then they'll go from there so they could look at, because technically DVT came out of nowhere. So I was like, okay, no problem, whatever. Went to my primary care doctor. This is why you have to be an advocate for yourself, no matter what. She was like, oh, you don't need to go to a hematologist because you don't know where it came from. You just take the medication, the blood thinners for 6 months. And when you move, you can go see a doctor and see what they say. I was like, what? Oh, you got blood clots from COVID. I was like, I didn't have COVID. Well, you got them from flying. Ma'am, did you not listen that I wasn't feeling well last month? My legs were heavy. Something was going on. I said, you know what? I want to see a hematologist. So when I left, I was pissed. Like I wanted to fight. Um, but I was like, nope, I want to see a hematologist. So like 10 days later, I seen a hematologist and they did this huge blood workup on me because it technically was out of nowhere that I got blood clots. So we need to go and do all this extensive blood work. I'm talking about, I think I had like 15 or 20 tubes of blood drawn that day. Um, APS is not genetic. No one in my family has it. Um, it falls under lupus, so it's a synthetic form type thing under lupus. And research shows there's a percentage of people within 3 to 5 years of being diagnosed end up with lupus. Yes. So yeah. So finally went back in September of 2022 and well, let me go back. So when the doctor was telling me everything, the hematologist was telling me, she was like, oh, this what shows up, but we can't diagnose you with it yet because you just got on blood thinners like 2 weeks ago. So we have to wait and all this and all that. If it does come back, we're going to have to change you to another blood thinner and you're going to be on that for the rest of your life. Excuse me, ma'am? What? I'm gonna be honest. I was like, that's impossible. I didn't even know what it was. I just went home and just was like, this is what my life is right now. Okay. Like taking it in. I was out of work for like 6 weeks at that moment. And then when I went back to work, I wasn't working as much as I was. So you talk about financial stress and everything. And I live alone. My family is not even here where I am. But anyway, so now fast forward. So that happened in June. Fast forward to August. I wake up on my birthday of 2022 with COVID. Severe. I have a mask on. I'm traveling back home. I end up catching COVID from someone who came to a convention that I was at. So I don't know who I got it from or whatever because my COVID test came back negative. I had no symptoms or anything. I woke up on my birthday with shortness of breath and I was coughing and I was like, nothing was really bothering me. And then we got back home, ended up going to the ER and was like, because I couldn't at this point, as time was going on, I was having a hard time breathing. But my thought process was never COVID. It actually was, damn it, do I have a blood clot in my lung? Because I could not breathe. Get back to the hospital, get the blood. I'm cracking jokes because it's funny to me in the sense of like, how am I sick on my birthday? No celebration. I literally was sick. So get back, go to the ER. 2:00 in the morning, my test comes back positive for COVID. So they was like, oh, so you just got to stay home. After 5 days, you'll be able to do X, Y, and Z and da-da-da, because this was in 2022. So, everything was different than it originally was in 2020. So I was like, yeah, okay. I was down for a month. Oh, and it gets even better. I had the COVID cough until December of that year. Yes. So I was like, okay, whatever. Couldn't go back and get my blood test. A month later, go get my blood test. And as I was getting my blood test, when I got my blood test results back, they told me I had to stop taking the original blood thinner. and be put on warfarin. Now, I stopped the blood thinner and went on a 12-hour road trip. Wasn't supposed to do that at all. Came back. They put me on Lovenox and warfarin because they did not want me to die getting on the warfarin. So I had to do the Lovenox and warfarin. Cool. A couple of days of injecting my stomach, whatever, no big deal. Now I'm having all this chronic pain. My joints are hurting. Nobody can't figure out what's going on with me. It took 2 years before I got a chance to see a rheumatologist. And the only reason why I went to see a rheumatologist and why they sent me to see a rheumatologist, because last year in April of 2025, 2025, because we're in 26, April of 2025, they found blood clots in my leg again. Warfarin was not working for me. My INR was always all over. My body did not adjust for 2 years, 2+ years. Because it was 23, 24, and April of 25. I stopped taking warfarin in April of 25. And they put me on Lovenox. The ER doctor was like, you need to see a rheumatologist, because I was having chest pains like I was having a heart attack and all those things. And they was like, ma'am, this isn't really what would be going on. They need to check X, Y, and Z. Take a leave of absence from work. So, your cortisol levels are down. You're not really doing much. So your inflammation goes down. The rheumatologist draws my blood. There were certain things that came back positive because of what I have. And he was like, oh, there's nothing else wrong. So why do I have these joint pains? Why am I having these issues, sir? So I went to go see him back. He gave me a medication. And I was like, that medication is not working. Make that make sense. He didn't even draw my blood when I came back. And then drew my blood recently. And some of my blood came back abnormal. And he has not reached back out to me. Yeah. So then I have arthritis. My blood work doesn't, so my joints show rheumatoid arthritis, but my blood work doesn't show it. I have symptoms of it. Just like I have symptoms of lupus, but it won't come up in my blood work. Not the one that they want to come up, but the one that falls under APS. So I have all this joint pain, hip pain. And how am I supposed to be into myself? I told that whole story to get into how I'm on Lovenox for the last year. And before, I never had a problem wearing a crop top. This last year, I have a major issue showing my stomach. My stomach has been black and blue for a year. 1 whole year. I don't feel sexy. I tried to. That's why the picture that I have that represents in the logo is me putting a heart on my belly with those marks, because those are from my injections. Loving yourself is not easy when you have to look at your stomach and it has all these black and blues, and then under it is hematomas under your skin, from the injections. But I would rather be on Lovenox than warfarin. And some people may think that sounds crazy, but it's not crazy to me. Because on warfarin, there's so many things that you have to be careful with when it comes to eating, because high vitamin K enriched foods can cause so many different things. And I've had low INR numbers multiple times, but we never was like, let's go check to see if you have any blood clots. It was up. We're just gonna adjust your dose. So since your blood is thickening, and last year in April, beginning of April, I ended up going to the hospital, and the same woman that found my DVT in 2022 found my blood clots in 2025, almost 3 years later. I am angry with my diagnosis. I am frustrated. I want to know what's going on because I wake up every day in pain. Going to sleep is painful. It's like a never-ending thing. And I don't take medication like pain medicines. I actually tolerate my pain. Because last year I had came back from a business trip and I wasn't feeling well, and I was taking Tylenol, and that Tylenol ended up having my liver numbers through the roof. So I won't even take pain meds. And some people think that's crazy, but I just won't. But that's enough for today. How are you doing with living with your chronic illness? I would love to know. And I hope you joined the Dragonfly Circle. Keep being you. We're going to get through this together. We're going to learn from each other. We're going to talk about it and have a good time. Cry. And talk about all types of stuff, from support to things that help me and make me feel good and feel pretty. My lips are purple. And it's Lupus Awareness Month, so make sure you have your purple on. I love y'all. Bye.